Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I want in a very special way welcome you for today's class. We'll be continuing with our online tutorial graphics class. I remembered the last class we had was that of color class, and I promised us that we'll be commencing our design proper. I believe we must have exhausted and practiced everything that has to do with the toolbox. Now we are advancing to next level, and today we'll be discussing the alignment class. Okay, we'll be discussing alignment class. Of course, alignment is anything that has to do with you positioning something where it's supposed to be. Okay, and I would like us to please pay attention to this class, as it will help us on the long run. It will help us as we advance in our design. Okay, so please, alignment, we are doing it both for text and for shape. Please, let's pay attention, as this will help us as we advance in our class. Okay, now I have a rectangle here, and I have another rectangle here, and I have another rectangle here. Now, before this, before this, I want us to take note of this. Alignment class, we have for left, we have L, we have for right, we have R, we have for top, we have T, and we have for bottom, right? We have B, but then we have for center. Let's give the other writing spelling of center. Let's give the other spelling of center. So we have center, we have E and C. Now, I'll be introducing us to something very interesting. Please, let's pay attention. We have this shape here, and I'll be drawing a very straight line. I just want to explain this in a very straight way that you will understand. And we have, okay, let me just duplicate this. Okay, we have this. Now, like I said, this is very straightforward. Left, the short key is L. Right, the short key is R. Top, the short key is T. Bottom, the short key is B. But that of center, the short key is E and C. Now, I want us to understand the difference between E and what? C. Hmm? Of course, we have that of width, right? And we have that of height. All right. Now, the C stands for width. Okay. All right. While the E stand for height. Like I said, I want us to have this diagram and this short note somewhere, because it will be guiding us as time goes on. We'll be making use of this countless times in design. So please pay attention to this alignment class, as it will guide us in mastering our graphics tutorial class. Before then, let's have these three shapes, and I give them their colors. I want us to do something very quickly here. Okay, let's assume we have this. All right, let's assume we have these three shapes. All right, There are three different shapes, three different sizes, and three different colors. Okay. Now, of course, multi-select is holding down your shift key. Okay. Now, if you want this yellow and this pink to come down to meet the green, okay, the green, have it in mind, have it at the back of your mind that the green is usually the last click you make when multi-selecting. Of course, multi-selecting is selecting more than one item. Okay, meaning if I really want this yellow and this pink to come down to this level where this green is, I can set down my ruler line here so that we'll get it very clear. I can begin to click with from this. I can begin with this, any of these two, but then have it in mind that in as much as you want this yellow and pink to come down where this green is, green will be the last key or the last shape you should click when multi-selecting. Meaning, if I click on this pink and multi-select by holding down my shift key and click on my yellow, then I will now click on my green. I will now leave the shift and leave my mouse. What I need to do is to come through this my alignment class and see I want it to be at the bottom. Okay, that is to come down where this line is. What I need to do is to press B. You see, the pink was here, the yellow was the pink was here, and the yellow was somewhere here. But they came down to this green where it is, simply because green was the last click I did. Okay, so if I click on, while it's still like this, once I click on T, it will come top where this is. All right, once I click on L, it will come to the left, it will come here, it will come here and stay. This is left. Okay, if I click on right, it will come here and stay, and this is right. So what we are doing here in essence is, if you are multi-selecting an object or a text, have it in mind that the last click you do is the most senior. The last click you do is the most senior. Now let's practicalize this using what we've done here. Okay, because I know this is a smaller shape than this. Of course, they were covering it while we are doing our class. Okay, now let's do it for this. If I click on this and I want this to actually come where this very rectangle is, automatically, if I multi-select, this should be the last click I will do. Because if I click on this before clicking on this my green, that means this bigger white box will come where that it has to respect that of green. But in as much as the white box is the last click I have done, the green will meet the white box. So let's practicalize all this left, right, top, bottom, and center. Let's see what it will give us. Like I said, this will guide us in design. This will give us a guide in design in a situation whereby a particular size and shape is being given to you to do one or two design. You see, sometimes when designing complementary card, you discover that the space between the left and the right does not align at all, simply because the person doing the design maybe never have the idea of alignment class. So that is the reason why I'm using this time to treat this alignment class, to train us in this alignment class, so that we'll get it and get it very, very, very well. Okay, please, if you are new to this channel, like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for subsequent video. All right, welcome back to the class. Now I said multi-select. I want this green box, this green shape to actually, let's apply all this alignment we have here inside this white box. So once I click on the green, I'll multi-select. Okay, now if I click on L, of course, this is where left is, right? This is where right is. This is where top is. This is where the bottom is. So let's see this. I'll press L. See, is in L now. I press R, that is right. I press T, that is top. I press B, that is bottom. Now, that of center, this is one of the things that confuses most graphic artists or most graphic designers. Okay, sometimes they mistake the E for C and they mistake the C for E, and that is why I deem it fit to draw this and explain it more clearer so that we can understand it more better. Now watch what happens. If I want this box to be at the center of this shape in height, you know this is height, okay, I'll press E. Once I press E, now computer has now measured from here to here. Now try to center this box from here to here because it's dealing with height and height is E. So I just pressed E now, okay, and that is what we are seeing here. But in a situation whereby I press C, C now computer will now leave that of height and measure the width. Okay, okay. Now you see what is happening. If I press my C, if you carry your tape, when you use your tape to measure from here to here and from here to here, it will give you a clear sign that this is actually at the center of this box, both in height and in width. Okay, so when you hear a graphic artist or someone telling you let this shape, let it be at center means he's talking about C and E. But in a situation whereby you hear maybe someone that is superior more than you in this field tells you let it be at the center. So you as a good graphic artist, what you need to ask is which of the center? Is it that of width or is it that of height? Okay. So but once you hear center, what I'll just do, once I multi-select, I'll press C and E. Okay, now that is it for that. Now this brings us to when one is designing commentary card or any design at all. Let's assume I want to write guest minister, and after writing guest minister, I'll now write Pastor Henry. Okay, right? I'll now come here again and write um um junior pastor. Okay, now the question now is how do we center this? Let's assume, how do you center this, as in you want it to be at the center of each other. Now I typed it in a scattered form, but can we actually do something and make it to be at the center without issue? The answer is yes. If you don't know this alignment, you will definitely have issue because there is no how you can come here, bring this pastor here, and come here, bring let's say come here, bring this pastor here, and come here, bring the position. There is no how you can, there is no how it will be straight. Watch what happens there. The E is almost close to where the R is. Meanwhile, the P is far from the G. The same thing happens to the junior pastor. So what you just need to do now is, let's assume I have the guest minister. Of course, the guest minister should not be more bolder than the pastor name. Okay, all right, should not be more bolder than the pastor name. Meanwhile, as time goes on, I'll be I'll be explaining how we use color, because anyone that is alive, if someone, let's assume I'm designing a flyer for church, and you know this church is, the pastor is alive and I think he's just alive, you don't use red. Okay, you don't use red to write his or her name. That is one thing again that most graphic artists don't know. You don't use red to write someone that is alive. You know, in everything there is rules and regulations. Even in design, there is rules and regulations. But sometimes some of us just violate it and just do the design. After all, we are being paid. But your design speaks more about you. Your design speaks more of what people will say about you and how good you are. So what I need to do, even though this is in a scattered form, just what I need to do is, I will, of course, the last click I will do is the most senior. So once I click on this Pastor Henry, I'll multi-select and press that of guest speaker. I'll press C because I know C is for the width, so that it will center this name from this guest minister. What I need to do, I can now increase it. All right. So same thing happen here. Let's assume this is the position. Okay. I can reduce it, maybe bold it. What I just need to do still yet, I'll just multi-select it with either the guest minister or that of the name of the pastor. I'll press C. Of course, C has to do with the what? Has to do with the width. Okay. So I can now drag it up. So that is why sometimes one will be asking, how then? Because some people are inquisitive of knowing if the space between here and here is actually the same thing. Yeah, the answer is yes, because once you draw from here, okay, of course, look at where the junior started. All right, I'll make sure I position it where it stopped here, right? So if I drag the same thing where in front of this R, you discover that once you use your margin, they call it margin, discover that is giving us exactly what we have here. So I believe we have been able to understand how this alignment class work. Most importantly, try to have this drawing or this diagram, um just try to have it, okay, try to have it for subsequent designs that we'll be doing, because the next class I'll be doing with us now is that of weld, intersect, interact and co, and I'll be doing it in a professional way that one will not ask how do you join this rectangle and this circle and which is the key you pressed. And that is why I deem it fit to do this alignment class, so that we'll get it clear and get it very well. So same thing happens to people's name when you are doing commentary card, and you see that at the end of the day, the owner of the commentary card, the name is either by the right hand side, depending on how the design, depending on the person doing the design. And of course, the most important reason why we are doing this class is alignment, for you to know when the key to use when trying to justify or centralize or align a text or a particular shape. Thank you for constantly viewing my channel, and see you in my next video. Bye.